guys, my name is Hashim Mohammed and welcome to this video tutorial. In this video, we'll be learning how to create an Airbnb-like application using Glide without absolutely no programming. So, what is Airbnb? I'm pretty sure if you're here in this video, probably you know about it. But if you don't know, just to give you a quick introduction, it's basically a site where you can browse all the places that you can rent out to stay. It's not just places to stay, but also they have other things like experiences, which are things that you can do with locals or some exciting things that you can do in a specific place. So so yeah, Airbnb is filled with a lot of people offering these kinds of stuff, and we'll be learning how to create something of this kind using Glide. And of course, speaking in terms of the design aspect only, I'm not saying you can do exactly what you see here. Of course, this is the web version, but you can definitely replicate some of the most important aspects of this website and get this onto your service. And probably you are creating something of this kind, or probably you have certain features that you want to take from Airbnb and create your own spin of it, whatever you want. We'll be learning how to do that on Glide today. It will be doing that using basically Glide apps. Now, Glide apps, if you don't know already, I've done a couple of video tutorials. Now, this one I guess is my third or fourth video. Basically, Glide apps lets you build mobile friendly, either mobile friendly websites or web applications, or you can also create native mobile applications using Glide apps that you can deliver either as a native app or you can deliver as a URL. Just go to glideapps.com and check it out. There are some examples that might be interesting to you. Anyway, so let's go ahead and the first thing you want to do is just go to glideapps.com and select create an app, and then log into your Google account. Okay, the reason it actually leverages on Google account is because it basically takes all of the data from Google Sheets, so which means that you will need to have a Google account. And well, what you need to do is first go to sheets.google.com. It's basically an online version of Microsoft Excel, if you're not aware. It's basically a cloud version of Microsoft Excel on the cloud. So you can go to sheets.google.com, create a new Google Sheets. I just renamed it to Airbnb clone, and I'll talk about these things later. But first, let's get these two connected and let's start creating a new app. First, before you start creating a new app, I think what it would ask us to do is fill up some data, because you cannot actually start creating an application with empty data. So, first things first, we're gonna have a couple of screens. We're not gonna replicate the whole thing. Definitely, I mean, this is this thing was built after years of research and development. But of course, we're talking about the most important part where the business is right. Okay. By the way, I did forget to tell you that we'll also be using Zapier. For those of you who don't know, it's basically used to automate certain tools with other tools and create some custom workflows, and that would also without any coding as well. It actually is really cool. Maybe if you don't know about Zapier, we'll learn. I'll not be going through all of the workflows, but I'll be giving you some ideas on how to make Glide work with Zapier and do some really cool stuff with it as well. So, first thing is we're gonna name the first thing to home. Of course, we can do that, but I think we don't need to have a home, because well, a home is technically the default screen. So, let's start with the first one would be like places to rent. Okay, and probably the next screen would be something like experiences. And remember that you can also have things like chat and everything, which you don't have to create a sheet for it. It will automatically be created for you if you want it. Okay. The other thing I want is orders. Okay. Now, there's something to be wary of, that this thing will not actually work with Glide alone. We're gonna use Zapier to make this work. However, we'll be using something called per user data, which I don't want to delve into for now. Okay, So, if you don't know already, the first row is used as the identification for what the data is below it. Okay, each column. Okay, now this A is for us. The first thing that we want to save in places is the title of the place. So something like the name of the bungalow. I mean the big great mansion on the edge of Madrid or whatever. That's the first thing. The title of the place, the address. Maybe I think Airbnb doesn't show the address, but for the sake of this video, I'll show the address. But of course, you can choose to make the address visible on pay or whatever. So we have the address. The next thing we have is well, some description, of course, and definitely the number of rooms. I mean, like what's the type of room is this? Like type of accommodation is this? Like, is this something? Is this an hotel or is it like a hostel or is it something of that kind? Well, so many things go into Airbnb, right? Like, if you just look into it, I guess we have number of bathrooms and number of rooms. So, how's the bathroom and number of rooms? We could definitely keep this going on, but let's try to replicate some of the most important fields. Oh yeah, of course. The name of the person, I guess, comes by default, I think. Oh, but yeah, let's, for the sake of this video, let me go ahead and say email. And email is the name of the email is the email of the person who's posting this. So his email will be taken into account as well, and his name as well, name of the host, or say host name. Let's just name it something like host name and the host email. So if you don't know how it's gonna work already, we don't have features to like have direct messaging on Glide as of yet. So the way it will work is basically what we'll be doing is we will take the host email, okay, and then we send the email there. However, using Zapier, we can connect those emails with our application, and we'll learn how to do that in a while. Okay, so we have host name, host email, and probably what else we wanted to have is, of course, we forgot the image, right? The image. Hey, so you forgot the image. Okay, well, next thing we want to have is probably well, price. Definitely, we forgot about that. Price. Well, I think for now these things will just be sufficient, but of course I can understand for those of you can have so many fields on here. We'll organize this information later. I think the two fields that we'll be needing, even in the case of experiences, will be these two things. So let's say I'm gonna copy these two fields and I'm gonna paste over here. Both the experiences, I think we'll have the title of the experience, what the experience is about, description, and we'll have probably an image preview. And I think in the case of Airbnb, they have a slideshow, but I think you can do that as well. That's not a problem. You can also have an image gallery for your information. Okay, next thing, I guess we need what else do we need? Probably, of course, the price. I keep forgetting about that. Well, where the address again, if you want to. I guess we need to say which country this is. Country and city, I guess. Country and city. I think these two fields are pretty important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be putting this. I'll add the same fields over here. And oops. Yeah, okay. So, for now, these two fields. For now, let's go ahead and create an application using these two parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Airbnb clone here, select. And it's going to take some time, and then it's going to create our application for us. Well, let's go ahead and customize this a little bit and make this look a lot sick and amazing. Of course, you can upload your own icon and customize this, but for now, I'm going to change the theme to, you can keep it light if you want to, but I'm going to keep it dark because I like dark. Let's go ahead and change the icons here to something like places. Home. No, I don't want home here for this, but something like for places. You know what? Location? No, location icon. I'm gonna probably choose a, yeah, probably home, because basically you're looking for a place to stay, right? And in experiences, well, we can add something like we could probably add this sailor icon, this anchor. Well, maybe you're sailing, whatever. So I guess we have our items there, but we don't really have any data here to start previewing it. So let's go ahead and start adding an example item from Airbnb. Guys, if I'm gonna open up any of these information, I don't own any of these images. This belongs to, in this case, it belongs to Anton. I'm just gonna show this for the sake of education, okay? I don't really have any interest to like publicize this application or whatever. I'm gonna copy paste the image URL here, because the first thing the says will be the image. So I'm gonna paste that. Well, I'm just gonna copy all of this information here because I'm kind of like lazy man. Oops, where was that? Here. I'm gonna copy the title of the place. Where is this from? Oops, Moscow. Well, Moscow. Well, by the way, you don't really have to have separate fields for country. You can also preview the address on a maps. Just so you know, you can have a Google Maps. So, well, next thing I have will be, I'll just copy this description. I guess it's a lot bigger. So let's go ahead and take this one here. Now, like I said, then the fields that I have on Google Sheets is really crude, but you can definitely refine it and make this a lot better. But description, I'm gonna copy paste that there, and the address. Well, for now I'm just gonna put Moscow because, well, okay, country, it's of course Russia. And price, I'm gonna give this a random pricer, $100,000. It's a lot of money, right? For per week. I don't know. I think I heard Russia is a lot cheaper, but yeah. Host name will be Anton, and his email will be, for now, I don't know, email@email.com. Now, to technically demonstrate how Zapier would work, I need to put in my own email, but for security reasons, I will not be proceeding. But I'll definitely give you guys some hints and ideas on how to work with Zapier. Okay, number of rooms. Wow, this is going to be a single room, right? So it's going to be number of rooms will be 1. Oops, there, I can see. Okay, bathrooms. Well, type of accommodation. This will be a villa. Will be something like villa. No, entire apartment. You can have this on the drop down. Like we can have this type of accommodation as probably doing the entire apartment. Okay. I don't know what exactly was that. Was this an entire apartment? Something? Yeah. I guess, yeah, entire loft. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna leave this over here. Bathrooms, 1. I'm just leave it like this. Single. Okay, so we have one piece of information here for places. Let's go check that out, how it looks here. Okay, so we have this thing here, but the problem is, it doesn't look good, right? So let's go ahead and change this to something probably like not gallery type, probably column. Maybe it looks good. Okay. I'm gonna change the details, the second field here, because it looks weird. So I'm gonna change that to probably the price, and the title should match the title of the place. Okay. And the image will be the image field, which I guess I forgot. Okay. Now you can also have a location shown there. So instead of an image, it could be a map from an address. You can also do that, like I said. Now it looks kind of weird. We'll organize this a little later, but let's go back to experience, I guess. Okay, let's go ahead and create the add item here. Now over here you can see that it adds all the text fields, but please remember that you need to like remove some of them. You need to like change the paint texture, like enter a value for bathroom. That's not an appropriate texture. I would encourage you to like remove, for example, this email here. I'm sorry, not email, but you can also have things like image picker. Okay, now what this would do is technically, like, if you add something like image picker here, now you can upload images onto your application. I don't know if you knew this, but in the last video you were not able to do that. So let's go ahead and add that here, image field. Okay, I'm gonna remove this one here. So as you can see here, this one is a custom field to add images. Now about when they are available and all of that stuff, you can also add a date picker and price. About country. Okay, by the way, choice is something like a drop down. Well, let me change this to type of accommodation. Now, the thing you need to remember is that you need to store all of these options. Not this thing here, right? Where you said entire apartment. We instead of letting the user type this out, we're gonna put this on a drop down. But for now, what we will do is we'll have an external sheet. We will not display this anywhere here, but we'll just say options for accommodation type, and we'll say this something like this, and then let's go ahead and store all of the types here. So something like entire apartment, like single room, shared room, and this is like, these are all the types you have in this options for accommodation. But we're going to display all of this in there. So the way we can do that is we can say options sheets. Let's go and reload the sheet here, and let's go back up here. Let me go down to like title of this business choice here, and I'm gonna select the options sheet as sheet 4, and options here. Now I'll tell you what this happens is, like, if I say the column for type of accommodation, let's say type of accommodation. Let's say this type. Okay. Let's go check this out. Type, and then you can select whether it's a single room or a shared room, whatever, and then click on add. And that will be added there, right there. Okay, I'm not gonna go too deep into how to customize the ad, but that's how you do it. It's very similar in the case of this. Okay, the title should be the title of this place. Image. Let's go ahead and change and the image there. And as you can see here, and the details would be, you could add the price over there. Okay. You can now add, I think, the address, but whatever you want you can show over here. But the thing I don't want to show is the email here. But so what we'll do is we'll also add, right, let's go ahead and add some first let's go ahead and add some comments, because that's very important. That's how we know it's something is fine or not. Next thing we might need is, of course, a map that shows the address, and the address will be the address field. But as you can see here, we have the address of the location, not exactly any specific place. It's just pointing towards Moscow in this case. But yeah, you can have that as well. Let's go ahead and add that right over here. Let's remove that address there. So this is showing the map. Oops, I think we should add this a little below. Okay, so that's not an appropriate placement, but never mind. I guess my battery's about to die, so I have to fix it out. So let's go ahead and click on the add button. Now let's go ahead and say contact post button. So now when I click on this, it will say, well, the value of host email is there. So send an email, contact host. The data is the host email that will be sent there. Okay, so I guess everything is configured there. So all I need to do is just put this a little up here, or you can put this on the top as well if you want to. So over here we have. Let's go get rid of the image field from there, because we already have an image here. You can also, of course, have an image gallery if you want to. There's so many things you can just add on here. You can also add a phone number, which I did forget. If you want, you can also give an option for the user to call the person if you want to, and that's also pretty cool. You can do that as well. Okay, favorites is something I forgot. You can now mark things as favorites. Now, you know what, for the sake of this video, I will stop with the places now. Let me go ahead and get rid of the sheets for here because this got this visible. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna remove that part. Okay, now one thing is, for the sake of this video, I will not work on the experience part because it's very similar to this places, except you just need to add the corresponding fields. However, I'll stop with this one here for the sake of this. And let me talk about Zapier for a second because, wait, for now, what you can do in this application is you can get, like, you can show all of the places. If in the end of the day, if you talk about Airbnb, it's about the community. It's basically about the places and things it has to offer. It's pretty much less about the technology, and it definitely has a lot of things under the hood. But I think in the end of the day, it's all about the community that Airbnb has accumulated. So that's what it is today. Its popularity and its glory is all because of its community. However, the technology aspect, with regards to the technology aspect, I think if somebody's gonna make like use this application, I think they're gonna find this. I don't know. It definitely does not look like Airbnb, but it definitely has that kind of feel. However, there are certain things that will make it look not like in not make it look not like in Airbnb application, and the reason for that is because, well, orders field is over there, but we are not storing. This is not. I mean, when I order something, okay, when I like if I want to contact my host, and if I want to order this is not stored on the application. So what can I do for that? How do I do that? Well, for one, you need to know that Glide Apps does not have the feature to store messages. So what you can do is that we can use something called Zapier. Now Zapier does not have connections with Glide per se, but what you can do is you can use Google Sheets as an example. Now I'm gonna give you a couple of examples of what you can do with Zapier. Okay. Now, like I said, go to Zapier.com. It's free to register. Of course, beyond a certain extent of usage, you need to start paying for it. But I guess if you're gonna cross that limit, I guess you already have a couple of paid users, so you can definitely invest in your company. But yeah, like to give you a short idea here, basically what you need to do is you need to go to Zapier.com and under the app select Google Sheets. Okay. Now, onto the integrations, you will find a lot of applications that Google Sheets can integrate with. Now, this is all the applications it can integrate with, and you can see those integrations over there. But the thing is, over down here, you can see all of the example things that you can do automatically. But this happens, and this is scheduled every time for you without you having to code for it. Now, there's one particular thing that kind of that got my attention. Well, I mean, one of these integrations that could be useful. Now, again, I said I could be useful, but you can do something like this. You can add a link to paying for the property upfront. Now, like I said, in this case, it's an Airbnb clone, but maybe you're doing something like hiring people on hourly basis, so people may have to pay them up front. So if there's something like a payment involved in the first place, I guess you can use something called Stripe. Okay, Stripe. I don't know if you've heard of Stripe, but by the way, my internet might be slow here because, well, I'm in India right now, and I'm basically based in Sweden for the next year or so. But I'm just here for like 2 months. By the way. So we have Stripe here. You can go ahead and you can set up your account here, and then you can have your link, and then you can paste this on the Google Sheets, and people could actually pay you. But again, those payments are stored on your corresponding accounts. How can we display that on Glide? Is what we can do is that we can take those records from Stripe, and because if you go to the integrations, you can store all of the transactions onto your Google Sheets here. You can do that. Well, but for now, because for my account, I mean, Stripe is not supported in India, so unfortunately, I cannot really show how that works. But in this case here, I'm gonna show you what you can do with Gmail integration. So what you can do is create a dedicated email account for this application, and what you can do is you can create this like just like what we did here was we chose something called contact. We added something called contact host. So every time somebody sends an email, I'm pretty sure you're also storing the destination. I mean, we also have who sent this email, right? We have that message on our Gmail. What we can do is with this integration here, we can store every single email that comes onto this inbox onto the Google Sheets. And that will be stored in this section called Otters. And actually, this Otters will you can definitely configure it over there. But what we need to do is we need to configure this first in order to be like in order to show that there. So if you have email and like your message, and then you could have status. Okay, now and we can also have status approved, rejected, pending approval. Now these are some types that we have that users can just select from, and I mean the host can select from, and then make an update here. But if you guessed it already, everyone who has an order would be different. I mean, everybody's orders would be different, right? So, for example, if I go to orders here, let me change the icon to something like cart. Shopping cart. This is not the right icon, but yeah, it's okay. Let's go to screens here. Now you can do something like you have to select. Go to settings here. You need to have some login because you need to identify who the user is. So let's go choose public with email because the user has to log in this case because it needs to know who is actually the person who's doing that. So let's click on filter data by user. Now as soon as I do that, I can select email here. Now what this will do is, if you say this is just a preview option, but what this will do is this will only show the records of the person with that current email. I don't know if I can make sense already. For example, you're logged in as email@email.com. Only the records on this order sheet where I have email@email.com will show up over here. That is per user data as per Glide's documentation. I hope I'm making it clear. Just let me show you what this looks like. So every one of them, each one of the users sees different screen, and for this you need to make sure that the user is able to log in. So otherwise you can't identify who the user is. So so that's how you can do orders, and that's one example of how you can store. And of course, I'm not able to show how this listing looks like. So let's go ahead and create one example listing here. So. Hello, dear. We're coming tomorrow. This is an example text. So, status in this case will be something like pending approval. But let's say the host can edit this. Whoever can edit this. This could be something like host email, and then this would be something like the contactor email. Okay, that you could customize this later. You can of course have all the other information stored here if you want to. But let's go ahead and proceed and just talk about the technical aspect here in this case. So over here, let's go ahead and reload the sheet here, but we need to add which our email is. So let's go ahead and go to orders and let's go to email@email.com. I guess that's my record, right? So here we go. We have an orders here, but let's say if you want to have the user to be able to customize this. So let's say we have the where's that the choice. So the value that we need to change is the we need to actually change the options where we're storing the options status types, but we need to change the status. This is the columns, the status here. Status, This is the actual status. So if I change it to something like rejected, this will change over here. That's the name. That's the now the status of this thing. So we can change the details to status. So and that will be dynamically updated here. If you want to check it out, you can check it over here. Like there you go. So that's the advantage of using Google Sheets, is that it's dynamically updated, right? So that's an example of what you could do. Um, this is an order section. You can combine that with Gmail inbox and make that really clear. And of course, Zapier, all you have to do is set up your these two accounts, and all you have to do is once you log in, you have to select which Google Sheets document are referring to, and on the Gmail you have to refer where do you want to store all these orders, in which section. On the inbox, you want to store it on the spam folder. Why would you want to do that? But yeah, if you want to, you can create a separate category called orders, and you're going to store on that, or you can store on, say, in any specific category like updates or forums or whatever. And once you do that, you have to just select which sheets base are you talking about, like this one over here. So once you select that, that's it. You can start testing it out, and then it should be working fine. Okay guys, I'll stop with this now. I hope you guys found this video useful. You could replicate the same procedure for experiences. It's pretty much the same. So also, one thing I want to add is that on the screens here, you don't have to always have listings on every screen. Now, for example, you can also make this layout as instead of list, it could be details, and that way this could be a home screen. You can, of course, you can customize and make a dedicated home screen displaying all the latest properties. Now, in my last video, I showed you guys how to have a list inside a list, like referring. I'm talking about how to show, like, for example, you want to show relevant properties or something like that. In my last video, I talked about how you can display list from other sheets, like, for example, relevant experiences. You can show that as well. I showed you how you can do that, and to give you a small idea how to do that, let me show you how you can do that as well here. So let's go to the field here, and type in suggested experiences, because that is the name of the field that I want to do. I want to have here. But what I wanted to do is I want to display a list of experiences from this base. So what I'll do is I say the value of these, these suggestions will come from the experiences tab or base. Okay, so I'll say experiences. So will that be one thing? But now I need to refer to a unique field in that experiences tab. Now, in my case, it will be title, because I will be referring to the suggestions from over here. Okay, now let's go and make this a multiple, and using another colon. And what this will do, if I don't refer to multiple, I will only get in exact just a single suggestion field, and that will just display one item. So if I don't mention multiple, that will be like a single item, like a single experience that I recommend for this. So that's not what we want. We want to have display a list of suggestions. Let's go ahead and add one experience, and not really delve too much into all the fields, but let's go ahead and add something like city cycling or whatever. Over here on the places, let's go ahead and add city cycling over here, and city cycling, I guess, is the name of the field. Is that exactly what we added over here? Okay, I guess we're good to go. Let's go check this out over here. Now let's go to the Live Studio, but before I do that, let's go ahead and check this over here. Over here, that you can see is suggested experiences city cycling. If I click on this, I can know more information about this one here. So this is a suggested experience, but as you can see over here, this is a list reference. So just go ahead and add this right about the comments. So if we have more information here, like for example, if we have more fields here, we can also have that. Like for example, let's go ahead and add probably another field, probably another experience here. Probably called, I don't know, mountain climbing. Okay, is another one. If I want to add that as well into it, I guess I'm not sure if it's 100% is how it works, but let's go and try. So mountain climbing. I think it's comma, but I can be wrong. This one. Let's go check out the documentation if I'm wrong. Okay, so reload the sheet and reload it. Reload. Okay, that's that's pretty much gone at this point. So I guess I made a mistake somewhere. Let's check this out now without the spacing. No. So let's check out the documentation on how to refer multiple items, because that's one thing that I guess is something you might need. Is how you can suggest multiple items. Although I think you can only suggest one of the titles, so I guess we need to have only city cycling. So all the experiences that match the city cycling will appear. Okay, so it will be something like well, you know what? Let's go ahead and search for this. Let's go to intermediate, I guess, and over here on categories and subcategories, they actually have a single video here, which is kind of. If I go to advanced here, no, I'm not actually gonna count. But if I go to, yeah, it's basically this. If I go to references, if I go to list references, yeah, over here I can say over here. We already did all of that, but the only thing that we're probably interested in is showing multiple items. The answer is actually on the video. I'm pretty sure you can check that out, but it's pretty much very easy to do it. All you have to do is you need to start adding in like to give you a small experience, to give you a small idea, basically need to refer this over here. Okay, wherever this value appears over here, it will just come up. If these two fields match, then it will come up. So for example, all of these experience, like for example city cycling, wherever it contains city cycling, that would appear over here. Okay, so you can match this, like for example, this is recommended over on this experience is recommended over there. You can also add that. So that's how you can add this. That's how you can add recommendations. If you guys found this video useful, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and visit my website at hasho.in. And I shall see you guys in another video very soon.